Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature, HD18. This is an important election, and I believe I need to win for the good of this House district, which includes Liberty, San Jacinto, Hardin, and East Montgomery County. We're in peril. Honestly, we're in peril. The fundamental problem, and this is the issue that we need to make this election about, is Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston. This is one of the largest and the fastest growing hubs of human sex, drugs, child trafficking in the country. Right now, there's 75,000 mostly illegal aliens who've settled there. They're being exploited. And it's expected to grow into 250,000, 250,000. This has put an incredible strain on the people of this community. And I've been campaigning and I've talked to people, and there's a lot of people who just want to leave. Now the sad thing is that this was created, Colony Ridge was created by our current incumbent, state legislator Ernest Bales. And he created Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston with House Bill HB, which is House Bill 4341. So that's where it came from. This huge blight, this tragedy, this disaster, it's by design. Of course, Trey Harris is behind it, Ernest Bales is behind it, and then we have other people like Jay Knight. There's been reports on this by Wayne Del Trifino. Something has happened. Something has happened. I'm very happy about it. Wayne Del Trifino did a video called Sounds of Silence. And I've experienced this myself because this is something that has been going on for a while. It's been really a big problem since 2016, 2017. And we can't get our voices out there until September 15th of this year. Finally, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, did a story on it, and it's caught fire. Now people know our voices are being heard. And I knew that Ernest Bales was behind Colony Ridge because I heard him say so in person myself. But now, thanks to the work of Ken Paxton, we know exactly what he's been doing, exactly what he did. So, when I win, it's not if, I'm going to win. And when I win, I'm going to go to Austin, and I'm going to repeal HB 4341. And we're going to dismantle Colony Ridge. It's going away. But to do this, you need to vote for me, because Ernest Bales, that's his baby. He created Colony Ridge. As long as he's in office, Colony Ridge will be growing strong. Janice Holtz, the other candidate as of now, the only other declared candidate that's running. And she's a good person as far as I can tell. I don't think she's up to the challenge of taking on Colony Ridge. Plus, she doesn't live in this community. She's all the way in Hardin County. And I live just a few miles, less than 10 miles from Colony Ridge. Well, my church is there. And my church is 10 miles from Colony Ridge. My residence is in Shepherd. So Shepherd, Liberty County. The church I pastor is in Liberty County. My residence is in Shepherd. So this is something that's close to home for me, and something I've been tracking for a while, and something we have to deal with. Now, this election is very important. It looks like Ted Cruz is back on the ballot. That's going to be in November. I doubt he's going to have any primary challengers, but it's important. It's important for us to be engaged. We got to support our president, Donald J. Trump. I don't think that, well, I know Ernest Bales is a rhino. He's a rhino, big time. He's sending out all these flyers, these push cards to deceive people. He puts these signs up saying he's a conservative Republican. That's not his voting record. So this is somebody who is a good friend, a big friend of the Democrat Party. And not just that, Ernest Bales has been working to flip this county. That's what Colony Ridge is about. He's been working to flip this county blue. And we need a Republican candidate, a real Republican in Austin. And I am that candidate. So, let's look at what I'm going to do to win. What are the issues? Number one, Colony Ridge. Number two, Donald J. Trump. Since Ernest Bales is not even a real Republican, he's a rhino, Republican in name only, he's not the Trump candidate. He's not the MAGA candidate. He is totally opposed to everything that Donald J. Trump and the MAGA movement represents. He's an open border Democrat. I'm the MAGA candidate, and I don't see Janice Holt ardently supporting President Donald J. Trump either. We need to get behind President Trump and support him all the way. I really believe, I wish this wasn't true, but I believe 2024 is a make or break election. I'd recommend you watch the film by Dinesh D'Souza called Police State. It's already bad what's going on with our government. Corruption, and also weaponization of the government against Republicans, against conservatives, against Christians. Mostly this is going through the FBI. Watch the Dinesh D'Souza movie. That will be a foretaste of things to come. So this election is about the survival of our constitutional republic. We need to get involved. We need to get serious. This is a fight for the survival of America, and I'm fighting for the survival of this country. I've served in the military for 30 years. I have 2 deployments to a war zone, and I spent 4 years on the border. I'm tough on border issues. I know exactly what's going on with the border. I was at the border, working at the Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection every day for 4 years. And I doubt that there's anybody in Austin that has the understanding that I have through working on the border for 4 years. And I think we need that perspective. We need that insight, especially if we get Trump in there. Because I know what works on the border. I've seen the border issue. I know it intimately. It's the biggest issue that we face in our country. So, if you love your country, if you love America, I'm not claiming I'm perfect. I'm not, I want to serve Jesus Christ. I'm a pastor. We all have our own faults. But I really believe that I'm the best candidate at this time, and I am a fighter. And I'm very sincere. I'm a true believer. This isn't a game. This isn't about me. This is about America and what's best for our country. So, let's look at what's going to happen the next few months. My campaign. So, let's look at the next few months. November, December. Now, I have been doing a little bit of activity in campaigning, and that's good and that's important, but you need to realize that people are not going to be engaged in the election until November 7th, right? And a lot of people don't even know about this election. This is election day. And that's 1 year before the presidential election, the most decisive and consequential election in American history, the 2024 election. So, this is when we need to start getting busy. The problem is, and I'm going to get very busy, and I'm going to get to work. But the problem is, you're looking at these 2 months. You're going to have Thanksgiving, and then Christmas and New Year's. So we're losing 2 weeks in which I could be campaigning. It's not going to happen, right? But I have 3 weeks of good campaigning in these 2 months. I need to get started in November and let people know. A lot of people don't even know what a primary is. And that's why I'm going to be meeting new people and telling them, it's like, you need to register, you need to vote. You don't like what's going on in Colony Ridge? Ernest Bales did that. You want to solve Colony Ridge? Vote Ernest Bales out of office. That's the only way to do it. As long as he's state representative, nothing is going to be done about Colony Ridge, and it's going to grow bigger and stronger until it totally consumes and destroys this county. And probably, in the end, the entire House district is going to be left in desolation. And he doesn't care. These people don't care. They just want their take. So, 2 months of campaigning in this year. And then, when is Election Day? March 5th, right? So then we have January and February. This is crunch time, right? This is when we need to do some heavy campaigning, especially when early voting starts in February. What we need to do is when January gets there, you tell people, hey, the election's on March 5th. The election's March 5th. Don't wait till March 5th. Vote as soon as possible. When there's early voting going there, go and vote. Vote now. Don't put it off. Vote. Okay, like, oh, I don't like what's going on with Colony Ridge. HB 4341, Ernest Bales' baby, he created Colony Ridge. You want to do something about it? You got to vote Ernest Bales out. That's it. Either you're going to have to move out of the community after, potentially, we have you got kids doing overdosing on drugs in the high school. I think there's been 17 overdoses within just 3 weeks. This is going to happen. So just a natural consequence of what's going on over there. So January and February is crunch time. And then March 5th, that's the last week before March 5th, last week of campaigning. So this means that I need to get busy campaigning. I've been doing some things here and there. The thing is, for me, in October with our church, we had church events that kind of took me out of action a little bit. But now, starting on the 7th, I have been doing things. I've done radio interviews. I did a couple. I have been putting together things. There's certain things I'm going to do. I'm going to have to make, I'm going to do push cards through the mail out cards. Junk mail, right? Does that win an election? Well, it's an important thing to have some. You have to do one mail out at least. You should do several, actually. But also, we're going to have text messages to let people know. The truth I have out there about my campaign, my identity, who I am in Christ as a pastor, things I've done with the military service, writing books and things like that. But this election in this House district needs to be a referendum on Colony Ridge, and then we need to get Trump supporters out there and Trump supporters to know that Ernest Bales is hostile to Donald J. Trump, everything he represents, and the MAGA movement. So if you're a Trump supporter, if you're MAGA, look what Ernest Bales did. He attacked and voted to impeach Ken Paxton because Ken Paxton represents the MAGA movement, and they want to do away with that. He's a ally of Trump, so Ernest Bales impeached him on the orders. The Democrats control the Texas State House. Even though there's a Republican majority, there's too many rhinos. They unite with the Democrats, and they choose a Speaker of the House who's subservient to the Democrat Party. He goes and sells out to them. He goes to the Democrats and says, okay, you guys vote as a bloc. I'm going to serve your interest. As a so-called Republican, I'm going to help the Democrat Party maintain control of the House. I'll peel off some rhinos, and with all of the Democrats voting as a one unit, then I'll become Speaker. Dave Fellon does, and I'll do whatever you want. That's what Dave Fellon is doing, and Ernest Bales is one of the rhinos that's allied himself with Dave Fellon. So we need change. Like I said, this is a pivotal election. This is about this. I really believe this is about the survival of our country, the survival of America. So now, I ran before, and I think that this is going to help me win this time. And there are certain events in these months. I got to schedule events for November. But what's going to happen, once my name is on the ballot, then I will be contacted about going to certain events. Now in January, I think it's January 11th, I'll put that out. We have the Meet the Candidate event, and that's very important. There will be last time I got called to go to a debate type thing. with with the teachers union. You need to, and there's another one I went to, a political event, all the way. I think I was in Coots, but they will contact me. Journalists will contact me, about the campaign once my name's on the ballot, and but I have to be flexible. I do want to have structure of certain things I'm going to do at a certain time, but then things come up like, an unannounced, a debate or a meet the candidate event. And of course, month by month, I'll put all this information out there. Now, if you're my supporter, what do I need from supporters? I am going to make 1,000 cards about me, my campaign, and Colony Ridge, honestly. And I'm going to have 1,000 of them. I'm going to have 1,000 contacts directly. I need to do it one-on-one. But you need to tell people, if you don't like what's happening with Colony Ridge, you don't like what's happening with our House district, if you're concerned about the future of Texas, the future of HD 18, the future of San Jacinto, Liberty, Hardin, East Montgomery County, the future of Texas, the future United States of America, we need to unite. You have to unite for President Trump and against Ernest Bales. I will close down Colony Ridge when I'm elected. But I need to get elected. I believe I'm going to win. I need some financial support. It's not about money for myself. It's like for mail-outs and other events. And they say that you can buy a House seat for $100,000. If I'm able to raise $100,000, well, thank God for that. But I'm telling you, I'm going to rely on faith and on the power of God. I'm going to take this mustard seed of faith. I'm going to say this mountain of Ernest Bales and his corruption, that mountain's going to move and it's going to be thrown into the depths of the sea. And by God, I'm going to win. But I'm going to work for it. I'm going to work for it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to campaign. And I know Ernest Bales. I know he's already done it. Already done it. Telling lies about me. Making stuff up. Pretty sick and twisted stuff. He can do that. I'm going to stand on the truth. I'm going to stand on the Word of God. I'm going to stand on my principles and my convictions. I'm going to fight for those, and I'm going to win. I am going to win. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to win those votes. Now, the thing is, let's talk about Ernest Bales. Stay in contact with this channel. Tell other people. Mostly, it's not about me. It's about I'm going to close down Colony Ridge. So let's look at Ernest Bales. What does Ernest Bales have? Well, he's got money. He's got organization. And he's got his cult. He's like Jim Jones. It's like David Creasy. He's got his cult followers. I don't understand it. Part of it, we talked about this morning. I need to preach a sermon about it. It's the error of Balaam. What did the prophet Balaam do? What was his error? God told him one thing. He was a true prophet of God. He had a call in his life. He's a prophet. And God spoke to him, but for money, he changed his sermons, his message. For money. He sold out God for cash. And that's what a lot of pastors in this community are doing, and that's what they've done for several years now. You cannot serve God and mammon. I'm going to rely upon Almighty God, and He's going to provide all of our needs according to His riches and glory, and He's going to provide victory. God doesn't want to see these people being exploited the way they are at Colony Ridge. I know they're undocumented, but don't you have human compassion for every human being on the face of this earth? To be forced to live in crime and squalor like that? And people let that go on so they can build schools? It's wicked. So what do I mean about his cult? I don't understand it. It's like, well, Ernest Bales is a big timer I know. I went to school with him. I'm going to vote for him. I went to school with him. Your kids could be killed by one of these cartel members running around this community, and you enable that to happen, or kids could get overdosed from drugs by the cartel that Ernest Bales allowed them to set up shop here. You're going to vote for that because you went to high school with them? Wake up, please, for God's sake, for human decency, wake up. People are literally dying. They find bullet-riddled bodies of kids over in Colony Ridge all the time. What about the 17 overdoses in the school? What is it going to take for you to think about moral principles and what's right in the survival of our country over you went to high school with this guy? Wake up! I don't understand people. It's probably satanic. You need to get set free by the blood of Jesus Christ. Maybe we need to start praying for that. This satanic bondage is broken for people. From people that are held in bondage to this wickedness. You're complicit in it. But, that being the case, Ernest Bales has made 2 gigantic missteps, and he's vulnerable. Number 1, there's actually 3. He's associated himself with Dade Felon. Drunk Dade. An embarrassment and a disgrace. He's probably going to be voted out of office. Number 2, he voted to impeach Ken Paxton, which is a stabbing. Let's talk about stabbing in the back. That's Wayne Deltrafino's other program. Stabbing the Republican Party and the conservative movement in the back. We need Ken Paxton. He's the most effective attorney general in this nation. He's been fighting against the Biden administration more than anybody in this country. He's been fighting effectively, and most often he's been winning. Ernest Bales took Ken Paxton out of the fight for like 5 months over nonsense. I was getting these texts. Ken Paxton got a new tabletop for his kitchen. Dun, dun, dun. It's like, there are things, look, we need to have moral standards. I understand that. Oh, he had a mistress. He helped his mistress get a job. I don't care. I care that he's fighting for our country, and we're dying. Can't you see all around you what's going on? Think about it, just inflation. This is all Biden's doing. He's fighting against, Ken Paxton's fighting against the Obama administration, all the harm they're doing to this country. Also, Colony Ridge is in the news now, and thanks to Ken Paxton, and like I said, I already knew this to begin with because I heard it from Ernest Bales from his own mouth. Ernest Bales is associated with Colony Ridge, Stranos, Houston. Wayne Deltrafino found it, and anybody that does any investigation into Colony Ridge, Ernest Bales' name comes up pretty quick. Because like I said, he created Colony Ridge with House Bill 4341. He's allowed Trey Harris, that villain Trey Harris, to have his own fiefdom in Liberty County. He's the Lord of Liberty County. It's an outrage. So, Ernest Bales has made these mistakes. He's vulnerable. People know what he's done. It's in the news. And I see his advertisement on Facebook. Oh, look, I voted for all these conservative. Yeah, right. Yeah, you vote for conservative legislation. It's going to pass regardless. So you can have your so-called conservative bona fides. But when it matters, like voting for Ken Paxton and other things, he's always supporting the Democrats. He makes sure that the Democrats maintain their dominance over the Texas State House because, talk about people in the community, Ernest Bales has always been a Democrat. He only converted to Republicanism when he decided he's going to take this House seat. So he could, I think the whole reason why Ernest Bales is in the Texas State House was so he could create Colony Ridge with his friend and hunting buddy, Trey Harris. Let's talk about some other facts about, sadly, how people aren't engaged. You know, people don't know who their congressman is or senator half the time. They don't know who their state legislator is. He's vulnerable. What happens? I mean, it happens to us all because, you know, we need to be more engaged. You go in there, you're voting, it's like, what? I don't know who these people are. So you should just start randomly, you know, pressing buttons. And that's what's going to happen with Ernest Bales. A lot of people, until recently, some people, of course, a lot of people are affected by Colony Ridge, but there's some people in this community that have no idea what's going on over there. This doesn't affect them in their day-to-day life, yet it will. So, that being the case, he's always vulnerable because, you know, that's why he puts all these signs up. He's trying to hope that you get name recognition. You don't know who he is, you don't know what he's doing, but you see Bales. So you see all these people saying, oh, who should I vote for? You mean Bales? That looks kind of familiar. You kind of get the luck of the draw. So that means every election, unless there's voter fraud, there probably is, Ernest Bell, especially if he's being primaried, he has challengers, he's vulnerable. He can be beat. Now, he does have his network, he does have his money. His two big supporters are the teachers. This tells you everything you need to know about him. The left-wing Marxist, CRT-loving teachers unions love them some Ernest Bales because he believes everything they do. And, of course, he's a rancher. I guess I have a ranch, too, and a shepherd, but he's a rancher. So the ranchers vote for him, the teachers unions vote for him, and then you have this network of people that dupe people into thinking he's a conservative Republican when he's not. But he's made missteps. He's vulnerable. And the other thing is, this election is a Trump election. You know, I've been thinking about, I'm a right-wing conservative. You know, just that's just what I am. It's like, oh, maybe I should tone it down a little bit. No, I'm not going to tone anything down. And in the end, I'm mainstream, because he's not a mainstream Republican. He's not a Republican at all. Ernest Bales is a liberal. Where am I philosophically? I agree with most things I'm more of a hawk as a soldier. We need to take military action to protect American interests, but that doesn't mean we need to get bogged down in stupid wars all over the place. So I'm more hawkish than Tucker Carlson, but I agree with a lot of what Tucker Carlson says. I agree with almost everything that Dinesh D'Souza says. So that's I guess my two most important conservative influence, shows people where I'm politically aligned. I could name some other names, but that'll suffice for now. So we need people who are going to stand up and advance the conservative Republican agenda. That's what I am going to do. So just say for instance, Ernest Bales was attacking me because I was at January 6th. I didn't talk about it last election when I ran against him before. It's like, well, man, it's just, if somebody asked me, yeah, I was at January 6th. But I think that most of the people, almost all the violence that went on in January 6th was by federal provocateurs and federal agents. They wanted to create a narrative of insurrection and weaponize, to go after Trump supporters. This is a federal FBI operation, almost all the violence. Now, just when you have hundreds of thousands, probably 1 million people at the Capitol, they should have had better security. It was refused. Why did Nancy Pelosi refuse to have proper security? Because they wanted an incident so they could create a narrative and they could exploit the situation. I was at January 6th all day long. I was there all day long. I didn't see any violence, and I didn't even know there's any violence that went on. That's why, hopefully we'll get the January 6th video released soon. But the reason why they don't want you to see the January 6th videos, because it was a typical, peaceful, cheerful atmosphere, a typical Trump rally. I've been to several Trump rallies. I've seen Trump in person 4 times. I'm going to see him a 5th time very soon. And that's all January 6th was. They have this narrative that, oh no, it was a violent insurrection. And like I said, I was there from 6 o'clock in the morning until 3:30. I didn't see any violence. I couldn't even conceive of violence happening. And when I went home, I didn't even know that violence had occurred. And they don't want you to know that because they have a false narrative of insurrection. And I went on January 6th to stand for free, fair, and clean elections. And most of the people stood, like 99.99%, and the rest were either people got caught up in nonsense or federal provocateurs and agents. But most of the people that went there, that was a celebration of America and standing up for clean elections. Because I do not believe, I think that if you believe, okay, let's put it this way. Joseph Biden, 81 million votes, more votes than Obama, no, more votes than any previous president in American history. Can you be stupid enough to believe in that? Of course we're going to stand up. You love your country, stand up for clean elections, for election integrity. And the people who went there to do that are patriots. And they're pursuing us to destroy this Trump. Look, they're arresting Trump for nonsense. This election is important. It's time for us to stand up and fight for our country. And that's what I'm going to do running for Texas State Legislature. And I believe that we're going to defeat the Democrats, we're going to defeat the left, and I'm going to defeat Ernest Bales, and we're going to win a great victory for our Constitution, for Texas, the American way of life. It's going to happen. But of course, it's not going to be easy, right? I believe it's a done deal. I believe in my heart I've already won. But I got to, even though that's true, I got to work for it. I got to work for it. And I will. I'm going to work hard. And if people want to help me, like I said, it's not about Dr. Missick. It's about stopping Colony Ridge. It's about stopping Ernest Bales. That's what it's really about. And please, every Wednesday night, we're praying for our country. If you want to meet me in person, I'm here. Let's pray for our country. You want to get some material? I'll have material. That's one thing I've done. I've created a lot of campaign materials. I'm ready to launch. And now is the time. So please, vote for me. Tell other people about Ernest Bales. Tell them that this is a referendum on Colony Ridge. We have an option. We don't have to put up with this anymore. Like I said, the movers and the shakers, they want Colony Ridge because they get to build schools and they get their side hustle. They get to make money off of it. But it's not in the interest of the people and the families who've lived here for generations. It's not good for the citizens of this county. They're putting all these, I got this, here it is. More and more school bonds, $125 million. Big Ponzi scheme. You know what happens to Ponzi scheme in the end? You think they're going to put $1 billion of debt on Cleveland, Texas to build schools for Ernest Bales and Trey Harris. And there are little cronies in there with them. Yeah, they want this. After this whole area implodes and turn into a wasteland, they're going to take the money and run. What about you? What about your family? What about the investment that you've made to living here and being part of this community? What about your voice? These people, these so-called elected officials in this area, they're working against the interests of the people and the citizens of HD 18. And it's time for the people to speak up. It's time for the people to rise up. It's time for the people to organize and vote to stop Ernest Bales. This is your chance. We're going to defeat him. But if we don't, this could be the last chance we have to turn things around, to stop Colony Ridge. So, like I said, it's not about me. I'm not perfect. I try to serve the Lord to the best of my abilities. I guess we all have our great achievements and our failures. But it's not about me. It's about Republican values and principles. And it's about stopping Colony Ridge. I'm going to do it. I'm a fighter. I went to war. I took hostile fire for my country. I carried a weapon to a war zone. And now there's other ways to fight. And I'm going to ask you to help me do this so I can help you. This is about we have our Army core values. And one of the core values is selfless service. And that's what I want to do. I want to serve this community selflessly and put your interest first and work to help people of HD 18 and not work against their interest the way Ernest Bales is doing and has done since he took office. So, join us. Join us. Or, like I said, it's not about me. It's about these stopping Colony Ridge. It's about Republican ideals that I'm going to advance. Our policies, our convictions, our principles that I'm going to advance in Austin. That's what it's about. I want to ask that you'd help me do this. Help me help you. And this is important. This is pivotal. And I ask you to get involved and give so we can do some publicity material and events. I'm not trying to make money out of this. It's about serving the community, but I need to have the resources so I can defeat Ernest Bales. You have to have push cards and campaign materials and buy advertisements. It's something that needs to be done. So that's something I need help with. But I also need people. The biggest thing to do is have one-on-one interactions. So I'm going to have campaign materials here. Please put it out and let people know. And if you want to meet me in person, you want to get involved, pick up some material, King of Saints Tabernacle, 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights, praying for our country. We're going to get on our knees, we're going to pray, and I believe victory is coming. But we have to take a step of faith. It's just like walking on water, right? Or doing anything. You know, Peter, Lord, is that really you? Yes. Well, come. Oh, you have to take the step of faith, right? Take the step of faith, believe in the Lord, and the Lord will enable us to have victory. So we're saved by grace through faith, but sometimes we have to take the step of faith for victory and go through trials and tribulations. God knows I sure have gone through a lot in my life, a lot of tragedy, sorrow, and suffering. So join us for prayer on Wednesday night. I hope to see you here, and let's save HD18. I need your support. So thank you. Please pray for the situation. Pray for this county. And I humbly ask for your support. So thank you very much, and God bless you, and I hope to see you soon.